I bet you didn't know that one of the most mystical saints was also a master of comedy. Saint Teresa of Avila, a figure of immense spiritual depth, was known for her profound mystical experiences and her remarkable sense of humor. Her life is a fascinating blend of deep spirituality, reformative zeal, and an endearing human touch that continues to inspire people across the globe. Here's a peek into the amazing life of Saint Teresa of Avila. Born in 1515 in Gotarrandura, Spain, Teresa was the third of 9 children in a devoutly Catholic family. Her father, Alonso Sanchez de Cepeda, was a strict but loving man who instilled in his children a deep sense of faith and morality. Her mother, Beatriz de Ahumada y Cuevas, was a gentle and pious woman who nurtured Teresa's early love for reading, especially books about the lives of saints. As a child, Teresa had an intense love for saints and martyrs. She was particularly inspired by the stories of the early Christian martyrs, whose courage and faith in the face of persecution captivated her young imagination. Teresa's early fascination with these heroic figures would later shape her own spiritual journey, and her desire to live a life of profound faith and devotion. At just 7, she and her brother tried to run away to become martyrs themselves. They planned to travel to the land of the Moors, hoping to be martyred for their faith. However, their adventurous plan was thwarted when their uncle found them just outside the city walls and brought them back home. This early episode of youthful zeal and daring foreshadowed Teresa's later life, marked by her bold reforms and fearless pursuit of spiritual perfection. Spoiler alert, their uncle brought them back home. Despite this early setback, Teresa's passion for a life of holiness only grew stronger. She continued to read voraciously, immersing herself in the lives of saints and the teachings of the Church. Her family, recognizing her deep spiritual inclinations, supported her in her religious pursuits, although they could not have foreseen the extraordinary path she would eventually take. Despite becoming a nun, Teresa struggled with prayer for nearly 20 years. She entered the Carmelite convent of the Incarnation in Avila at the age of 20, but her early years in the convent were marked by spiritual dryness and a sense of inner turmoil. Teresa found it difficult to concentrate during prayer and often felt distracted and discouraged. Her struggles with prayer were compounded by the laxity and worldliness she observed within the convent, which did not provide the spiritual environment she longed for. Sound familiar? She felt distracted and stuck, but eventually experienced a deep conversion, becoming a model of contemplative prayer. This turning point came when she was in her early 40s, after a profound mystical experience in which she felt the presence of Christ. This experience ignited a deep and abiding love for God in her heart, transforming her approach to prayer and leading her to a life of intense contemplation and spiritual fervor. Teresa's mystical experiences are legendary. She experienced numerous visions and ecstasies, which she described in vivid detail in her writings. These mystical encounters were often accompanied by physical phenomena, such as levitation and the sensation of her heart being pierced by a flaming arrow, an event known as the transverberation of the heart. These extraordinary experiences deepened her understanding of God's love and presence, and she shared these insights with others through her writings and teachings. She had visions, levitated, and felt her heart pierced by a seraph's flaming arrow, an event known as the transverberation of the heart. This mystical event, which she described in her autobiography, became one of the most famous episodes of her life. It symbolized her deep union with God and her intense spiritual passion. Teresa's mystical experiences were not just personal revelations. They also served as a source of inspiration and guidance for others seeking a deeper relationship with God. But did you know she was also a rebel? Teresa was not content with the status quo and felt a strong calling to reform the Carmelite order. She believed that the order had strayed from its original ideals of poverty, simplicity, and contemplative prayer. With characteristic determination and courage, she set out to restore these values, despite facing significant opposition from within the church and from her own fellow nuns. Teresa reformed the Carmelite order, facing fierce opposition but founding 17 convents and establishing the Discalced Carmelites. Her reforms emphasized a return to a more austere and contemplative way of life, with a focus on prayer, community, and simplicity. The Discalced Carmelites, or Barefoot Carmelites as they came to be known, embraced these principles and became a powerful force for spiritual renewal within the church. Teresa's efforts were not without challenges. She faced criticism, resistance, and even threats to her safety. But her unwavering faith and determination saw her through, and her sense of humor? Unmatched. Despite the many trials and tribulations she faced, Teresa maintained a joyful and lighthearted spirit. She often used humor to cope with difficulties and to uplift those around her. Her letters and writings are filled with witty remarks and humorous anecdotes, reflecting her belief that joy and laughter are essential components of a healthy spiritual life. When she complained to God about her suffering, she heard, "That is how I treat my friends." Teresa shot back, "No wonder you have so few of them." This famous exchange captures Teresa's candid and playful relationship with God. She was not afraid to express her frustrations and doubts, but she did so with a sense of humor and a deep trust in God's love and wisdom. Her ability to find joy and humor in the midst of suffering is one of the many reasons she continues to be a beloved and relatable saint. Her spiritual masterpiece, The Interior Castle, describes the soul's journey to union with God using the metaphor of a castle with many rooms. This work, written in 1577, is considered one of the greatest classics of Christian mysticism. In it, Teresa outlines the stages of spiritual growth, from the initial awakening of the soul to the ultimate union with God. Each room in the castle represents a different level of spiritual development, with the innermost chamber symbolizing the deepest intimacy with God. It remains a timeless guide. The Interior Castle continues to be widely read and studied by those seeking to deepen their spiritual lives. Teresa's insights into the nature of the soul, the challenges of the spiritual journey, and the transformative power of divine love have made this work a perennial source of inspiration and guidance for Christians and spiritual seekers of all backgrounds. Teresa faced many health struggles, including a near-death experience that left her paralyzed for 3 years. Throughout her life, she suffered from various illnesses, including severe headaches, fevers, and heart problems. These physical afflictions were a source of great suffering, but they also deepened her reliance on God and her understanding of the redemptive power of suffering. Her near-death experience, which occurred when she was in her early 20s, was a particularly transformative event. During this time, she experienced a profound sense of God's presence and a renewed commitment to her spiritual vocation. Miraculously, she recovered, further deepening her spiritual insights. Teresa's recovery from her paralysis was seen as a miraculous event, and it strengthened her faith and resolve to pursue her spiritual mission. Her experiences of illness and healing became an integral part of her spiritual journey, teaching her valuable lessons about the nature of suffering, the power of prayer, and the importance of trusting in God's providence. In 1970, she was declared a Doctor of the Church, one of the first women to receive this honor. This prestigious title is given to saints whose writings and teachings have made a significant impact on Christian theology and spirituality. Teresa's profound insights into the nature of prayer, the soul, and the spiritual life earned her this recognition, making her one of the most influential figures in the history of the Church. Her influence even extends to modern psychology, exploring the human mind and inner struggles. Teresa's writings on the inner life and the stages of spiritual development have been studied by psychologists and scholars interested in the intersection of spirituality and mental health. Her understanding of the complexities of the human psyche, the challenges of personal growth, and the transformative power of divine love continues to resonate with contemporary readers and researchers. Canonized in 1622, Saint Teresa of Avila's life is a testament to the power of prayer, resilience, and a profound relationship with God. Her canonization recognized her extraordinary contributions to the Church and her enduring legacy as a spiritual guide and reformer. Teresa's life and teachings continue to inspire countless people around the world, offering a timeless example of faith, courage, and devotion. Her story continues to inspire millions around the world. From her early years of youthful zeal to her later life as a revered mystic and reformer, Saint Teresa of Avila's journey is a powerful testament to the transformative power of faith and the enduring impact of a life dedicated to God. Her legacy lives on in the hearts and minds of those who seek to follow her example of deep prayer, joyful resilience, and unwavering commitment to spiritual growth.